Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
G'day, g'day, g'day.
I don't know which way to go. I'm on my phone today. I'm not on my computer, so this is a little bit weird.
It is.
Yeah.
But you're on the camera. We can see you. We can hear
Hello.
you. Hello.
Good.
As long as you can hear us. Well,
Yes.
mostly me and whatever we may present. But besides that, welcome, everybody. How's
Hello.
everybody's Wednesday night going? A couple of things, as usual. Don't forget, if you haven't joined already, join us on the Discord. Any events that's currently going on, we're trying to push it out. It's a little bit quiet right now because it is
Hello.
Christmas time. Starting to come out, but by all means, join the auto activism. We'll be sending out the links again at the end of the show. Good.
So busy week.
It's been a busy week.
It has been. Yeah.
It is. It's for those who can hear. I've been fighting some sort of weird flu bug. It's not quite a cold. I tested for COVID. I don't think it's COVID, but it definitely feels different than a regular flu bug. So hopefully it's not too serious, but it is wiping the crap out of me. So hence why I haven't been quite on Twitter as much or on Facebook or on anything. It's mostly because I'm just sort of zero energy. Deana, on the other hand, has been a little bit more active.
Been busy.
Been busy. By all means, do tell.
Well, I guess what happened this week? Christmas shopping. I finally bought my tree yesterday and put it up. Yeah, rearranged the living room and the dining room and stuff to make sure that the Christmas tree could fit. Tomorrow we're going to decorate. Today we did gifts and stuff. But over the weekend,
we'll get into more detail.
Yeah,
those ones for sure.
That was busy.
Was definitely a bit of a busy thing.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into that, we got to go into our standard thing, which is the Convoy watch. So, as some people might be aware, Convoy watch is still in effect, but things are changing a little bit in regards to the Convoy watch. So, by what I mean about that is one of the things that came out was a couple of details that come up for us to track. James Bowder and Canada Unity has come out, says December 25th, they're going at noon, they're planning on doing an announcement in regards to the Convoy.
What is wrong with that fucking guy? It's Christmas Day at noon. You want people to tune in to you on Christmas fucking Day at noon. Like, what is wrong with that dude? Where's he at in his life?
I'm hoping you're not looking for an answer in that one.
No, I'm not. It's rhetorical. It's just like, don't people go to church on Christmas Day or something? Like, what is happening? Don't they spend time with the family and not care about other bullshit? Like, this is time for family. Nothing else.
True, but I think his kids are grown up and his wife has left him. So
yeah, well,
I think he's got some extra time. But I think he's also, let's not forget, he's also believes what he's doing is part of God's work.
Yeah.
So
Jesus sent him.
Yes, because everybody else was busy, I guess.
Yeah.
But some differing news about that, which is even though we've got Bowder saying that, Quebec Convoy, on the other hand, has come out and said,
just for the record, I am not Cookie Lady. You might have missed this, Joe, but I
think I saw
American dude, January 6er, had me and Cookie Lady's work on at the same time and decided to say that we were the same person. So
I feel we should start making a list of, and I think you have made a small list of people you've been confused as. And again, this is,
I'm DNA rigged. Now it is Rainbow Karen as the front name. I'm not anybody else. We're good.
Not the Cookie Lady. We do love the Cookie Lady, and there's nothing against, I would not
love
mind
the
if you
Cookie
would.
Lady.
Yeah, would not mind if you're the cookie lady, but you're not. It's
No.
just what it is. And cookie lady, if you're watching, we love you, and we
Yes,
know
we
you're not,
do.
and we know you're not here. Although, if you want to join the show, I'm sure we can have a spot for you too.
Yeah, for sure.
But Cookie Lady did provide information in regards to the Quebec Convoy coming out and saying that they are not going to be joining the Ontario, or sorry, they will have a convoy, but they're not coming to Ottawa. And quite frankly and quite bluntly about it, it has to do with Bill 100 in Ontario. They're afraid of it. So, Bill 100 came about after the convoy. And it had to do with some legal matters in regards to trying to use your vehicle in a protest. And it's not legal to do that. If you do that, they can tow it away without any issues.
Right.
To make it even clearer for law enforcement to just, no more vehicles to be coming in. So since then, a couple of groups that have been kind of following that law, they're like, yeah, we're not going to go down there. Now, as it's been discussed, I think we discussed it, and I know I've discussed it with a few others. Dofo has made it quite clear in the Bill 100 that you can't use it for protest, but he's also quite specific. You can't use it in protest around a border entry. So you might have problems if you tried to do it at the airport, because that could be considered that. You definitely can't do it to a bridge in Windsor anymore. You do that, and that's immediate action. Probably the same thing with certain train yards and ports. The idea is to keep the ports open and accessible.
Yeah.
For the whole Ontario open. But it has nothing to do with Ottawa, which means Bill 100 wouldn't have any effect in Ottawa, unfortunately. Kind of sucks for us, but it is what it is. But I'm not going to correct them.
All right.
If they don't want to come because of that, that's fine. If they know that and it's clear and they still don't want to come, I'm like, you got another problem going on.
Well, maybe it got lost in translation. Anyway.
Could be. And one other thing, which is Real Andy Lee posted out, and she was one of the original organizers, saying, going to tell you, I would know because I meet with organizers weekly. The likelihood of Freedom Convoy returning to Ottawa in February is very low at this point.
Mm-hmm.
This means that it sounds like a lot of the orgs are just...
Well, the chief of police also put out a statement that it's not going to happen again. And the people of Ottawa have also said that they're not going to accept what we saw in January and February again. So good luck to them, whatever they decide to do.
Whatever comes is going to be something very, very small. It's going to be a much more smaller select group. They're going to... more than likely, I mean, it's going to be, if I was to guess, maybe 10% of what, as much as what you might get. It might surprise me, you get 20. More likely, I'd probably...
It wasn't the size that was the problem. I don't care how many people show up. The size wasn't the problem. If all of them want to come back to Ottawa and protest for a day and then leave, then I don't think anybody has an issue with that. But if they behave the way that they behaved in January and February, that was the issue. You can't just plant yourself into residential areas and throw yourself a fucking endless 3-week party, a rave, whatever it is, and do all those things. Like, the numbers is not even, I don't even care about the numbers. That's not even relevant.
Agreed. And you can't camp on the streets. You can't park vehicles everywhere.
You can't build fucking structures in the middle of the street. You can't have open fires in the street. You can't just shoot off fireworks in the middle of residential areas. Whatever. Don't flood our 911 system. Don't send bomb threats to our children's hospital or any other hospital for that matter. And, or libraries, because we know you like to do that, try to set them on fire like this weekend, those sort of things. That's just not cool. Have a protest. Give her.
So they're going to try to do their... And I'm not even sure what this olive branch is, but by the looks of it, it's becoming a smaller and smaller group that's becoming less and less concerning.
Yeah, well.
Every time we go by.
Anyway,
bad thing.
Move along. It's boring. boring.
Trying to get to the main story, aren't you?
No, I just talking about that stuff is boring to me. There's only so much you can say about it that we haven't said already over and over and over again. So I don't know.
That's true. and you're right. I mean, it's true. And particularly, well, I want to make sure we keep an eye on it, mostly because in case it becomes something,
Yeah.
I want to make sure we are able to come out with the information as quickly as possible. If there's going to be something significant that's worth the city and people to be aware of.
Yeah.
I
just don't think it's worth 10 minutes of our live show.
I don't think I'll disagree, but give at least 5 just to make sure we're keeping an eye on it in case it becomes something worse.
That's good.
And I think everybody else wants us to keep an eye on it just in case, because then everything will change. Now, speaking of something else that we're keeping an eye on, Mr.
James, some big crazy shit happened today.
Well, not quite today.
Well,
something
whatever.
Big crazy got discovered today, but filed and provided to us by some wonderful cats. The Ontario Superior Court of Justice was granted the Law Society of Ontario to do a seizure.
Yeah.
And this permitted them to go into by force if necessary. So, enter by force if necessary into building, dwelling, premises, so all sorts of locations to go do a search. And I believe, and I could not find the place to highlight, they were looking for a lot of electronic devices.
Yeah, that's something pretty heavy to have that be an order against you. I know someone else who should have that order against them, another lawyer. But James.
So James has had that. I'm curious, since he also is doing this action, if anything they find in this would be passed over to the police after for charges. I'm not sure. I'd be curious to see if this could, because I know there was the law enforcement right now. The police are doing an investigation to do actual charges. So hopefully it turns into something. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to turn into something. Courts don't decide to do those things unless they have enough evidence already from other people's phones about what happened. So it's not every day that government gets to take your phones and just start going through it unless they have evidence to indicate that there's something that needs to be found on there. So something will come out of it, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Oh, agreed. I mean, there's clearly they got the order. They got the order 2 days ago, which means it's not 2 days ago, but December 2nd. So it was about almost 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember when because the excuse me, the order came out on the 6th. Sorry.
Do you want to know what I think?
What's that?
I think that the streams of himself getting serviced by other people, those people weren't aware that that was happening. And I think there'll be charges as a result of whatever that charge is when you send explicit videos of other people in these positions out into the public. That's what I think is going to be found. I think there's going to be videos of him getting that done by other women, and it's going to be shed to light that these women were not consenting to the distribution of their pornography. That's what I think. That is my prediction.
Interesting idea. And I don't disagree. I was thinking more of the initial, like what we saw with some of the reports where he forced himself on certain women that he was doing for the in regards to his legal practice. But if they have enough evidence, they're going to have to take every single charge. They may add
Yep.
that plus those, because you try to charge as much as you can with as much evidence as you can to see what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And
I just don't. Yep. So so just keep that in your back pocket. That's what I think is going to happen. I think other charges for sure, but I think that's the big one, is that there's going to be women who had no idea that they were being broadcast in these situations. I don't know if voyeurism, vaccine baby, I don't know if voyeurism is the legal term for it. Maybe it's distribution of pornography against somebody's will. I have no idea what Canadian laws are in terms of that. I know there's somebody on Gucci's followers who would know what these charges would be, because I think that's the work that they do. So I'd be interested in asking her what those charges are called in Canada, but that's what I
because I
think.
mean, there's also because I know there's something in regards to the sort of the reasonable expectation of privacy. It's one of the reasons why I can film people in public. It's not much of an issue, or anybody can film people in public. It's not much of an issue because there's no expectation of privacy, as opposed to in a private setting like a bedroom.
Well, you can't send naked pictures of other people without their consent to anybody, right? So imagine a full-on video pornography. I don't know.
would hope so. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm not disagreeing, but I would hope so. But I'm not 100% sure. Whoops.
Anyway,
Give me 1 second here. My video decided to play with me.
what are you playing something?
No, my video decided to. Sorry, my camera just decided to act up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so and are you back?
I'm back.
Okay. Let's move on to the next thing. What's the next thing on our agenda? Welland.
It is Welling. So it's Brockville, Welland. I've kind of mashed the whole thing into one.
Well, let's watch some videos.
So
let's bring everybody there. Let them see if they haven't seen.
Yeah. So for those who are not aware, last weekend, there was a drag story time out in both Brockville and it was drag story time with Dare de la Flamme
in the library, in the public library. Yeah.
Done by, to say correctly, a drag king, a drag queen, a drag king. And then following day, we have a all ages drag brunch. And this was done by there we go. And this was an annual holiday apparently event that they actually do out there. So because I did a little bit of research in regards to this, they also had an ugly holiday sweater contest. I'm like, that's kind of awesome.
Yep.
But they had a brunch there. They had 3 people from this is not the right one.
It's an all ages. Both events are all ages. So you could be coming supervised by your parents, or you could be elderly and come with a bunch of friends, or you could just be anybody. It's all ages. It's an all ages event. Both of them.
Exactly. I think I have this one incorrect because this actually marks the Sunday, December 11th, not.
Okay. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It was at Welland. It was at a restaurant.
It was at this exact restaurant, which is the vegan, vegan restaurant. This is the same one. They had 2 events in a row.
Yeah.
So, but they only protested one. So they've been protesting a lot of these events. I mean, and this is not the first time we're talking about this. Well, we talked about
only in the last couple of years. These events have been going on for over 10 years, and all of a sudden it's a problem. In the last couple of years, imagine.
Oh yeah. No, they've only been an issue in the past couple of years. So I've done a bit of research in regards to it. So it actually, the story times only started least from what they were showing historically, since 2015. So it's actually not that old in regards to drag story times. It started around San Francisco and it spread out rather quickly, and it was never a problem. But it's only the past couple of years that these protests, especially the past year, I say it's really amped up. There was one incident in Ottawa in 2019 with one individual walking in and complaining, being, doing the usual religious rhetoric. He was out in Bell's Corners, but it was one individual versus the entire group that was there, and he was ushered out, as opposed to what we have now, which is very, very different. There's
about 10 to 15 of them that show up to make a lot of fucking noise, and then there's a whole bunch of other people who are there to protect the people that are inside and the people who are doing the performing. That's pretty much what sums it up. They're always going to be outnumbered, and the more that they do this, the more all of us are going to come out, and so this is going to be a lost cause. But let's look at the video and see what happened in Brockville.
I was going to say, shall we start with Brockville?
Whichever one you want. Brockville was first, but it doesn't matter to me.
No, I've got Brockville queued up.
They're the same players of protesters who come out, and then different protectors. So they need to know that they're outnumbered.
Oh, absolutely. So,
who's Satan? Who is Satan?
The devil.
Okay.
Evil.
What does that even mean?
Evil.
So you're talking about monsters in a book, and then you're talking about the devil, which is a monster in another book. Yeah, what?
What are you even talking
I don't know. What are you talking about?
Can you explain to me so we can have some dialect?
Well, I'm trying to explain it to you. And it's not dialect, it's dialogue. Dialect is, and like, not even that. So, dialogue. Don't use the children to excuse your hate.
Look at the
Don't
books.
Don't use the children to
these
excuse
drag
your
queens
hate.
are reading to the children.
Yeah. They're not your children. Business. Go home to your children, your 3 children. You're the one who's confused. Just because you're so simple, Crystal, doesn't mean that the kids are. Oh my God, look at her. She's freaking out. She's freaking out.
What did you have had all of the...
Do you know why they're fighting for equality? Because of that. People coming here saying that the way that they are is wrong and not giving them the opportunities that everybody else has, because that mentality. And so you say that you fight for diversity and you say that you fight for equality, but your actions aren't matching your words.
What actions aren't matching, though? When I'm fighting for my sons to support Jesus.
Yeah. You have a problem. What do you think if you were a human being and you had a bunch of people who came at you and said that you, like women, women couldn't vote. And what happened when women were trying to vote? There were these kind of people yelling and screaming at them, throwing tomatoes at them, throwing eggs at them, yelling profanities, saying, there's no way. Think about the children if women vote, right? Think about the children. What happens when women work? Oh, think about the children. It's always an excuse. What about segregation when they were bringing black people into the white schools? Think about our children. Oh my God. No. So what I'm saying to you guys is, you're a lost cause. Get over it. Move past this. You're not going to win this battle.
So I want to start off by saying, because
the mic is yours.
I want to say to Mayor, what an awesome compilation he put together. It's at almost 34,000. Last I checked, 34,000 likes. He's a master at what he does. He's amazing. There was an hour and a half of footage, and he picked out for me the best, like the highlights of what happened that day, and that there was actually messages. It wasn't just screaming and yelling. And definitely I was yelling because I'm competing with the music in the background. You don't pick it up on my phone. So, you have to have a loud voice at that point. But we did have some calmer conversations. I need a bullhorn. I think I'd sound a lot less hyper and angry if I had a bullhorn to say what I needed to say. I could be calm if I did that. But anyways, whatever. These people.
We'll start GoFundMe for your bullhorn.
Yeah. These people are insane. Like the stuff, their arguments about why they're there is insane. They lie. They say that they try to help with inclusiveness and diversity. That third lady in that clip just bizarre, bonkers, like the stuff that she was saying about how her son gets distracted because he has a trans teacher. How do you get distracted? Like, we've all had teachers that we thought were odd looking, if that was your issue, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've had that science teacher that was like, disheveled hair everywhere, and and like total what is it, stereotypical what you would see, and whatever, just fucking mature, get old enough, whatever it is, and do your work. Like, it's just all these excuses about um,
There's a
it's
lot
ridiculous.
of ascribing. Like, children will get confused. No,
No, they
you're
won't.
the ones getting confused, and you're
Right.
trying to put that on your children.
Yeah.
You know,
I got
they have their
a lot of
grooming.
no, like, backlash from a lot of people because they're shocked by the language that I use. And so everybody that's followed me for as long as you have followed me, you guys know that this is how I deal. And
I've met you.
yeah. And and it's funny because they want to just hold on to that moment as if Camilla's life is going to be ruined because one moment in time I'm fighting with some people and using curse words. I'm not swearing at her. I'm not calling her names. Like, none of that stuff is happening. The swear words are part of the vocab, like part of the sentence, part of the uh, accentuation of the topic that we're talking about. Camilla's not allowed to swear. She hears swear words. I just want to point out that, Crystal was swearing, and I don't even care that she said the word fuck. Like, it's a word and there's a context to it, and kids are allowed to do certain things, but they're not allowed to, to do certain things. They know adults can do things that they can't do. And so, I really liked Mayor's compilation because I know I swore once, I think, in that compilation where I told the guy to fucking mind his own business and go check out his own kids.
Beep.
But if that is more appealing to people, that they're going to hear my message and not get so distracted by the fact that I swore, even though I posted it today. Like, these kids are holding signs that say "fuck Trudeau," or they have these shirts. These infants, they've designed these shirts that say "truck Fudo," but then they highlight the F and the UCK, and it's like, give me a break. Like, it's hard for me to take seriously these people's idea of what good parenting is. When I saw for myself, when I went to the Convoy, how they thought it was okay to bring their kids to the Convoy, to the diesel, to the loud horns for like 20 hours at a time. That's why Camilla didn't go there, because it was just plain unhealthy for children to be there. It was unhealthy for adults to be there. These same people who did this didn't give a shit about the children who were living in those residential areas, who couldn't go to sleep, who were listening to this partying, listening to people revving their engines, listening to the honking, listening to the fireworks intermittently going off in front of their balconies, like trying to run around schools, sending threats to a school right close to my home, like not even downtown. What the hell? An elementary school. The fuck, sending a bomb
School, no less.
to Chio, filling our 911 calls, like flooding those. Maybe children needed 911. Like, I'm baffled. So when you guys tell me that you have a problem with my parenting, I'm just gonna have to take that with what it's worth to me, and it's not worth a whole lot. Gaslighting me continuously, saying till this day that the Convoy didn't do any damage to our city and that it was the most peaceful thing they've ever been a part of. Well, then maybe you need to join more protests, because if that's the most peaceful thing you've been a part of, you're missing out, buds. Like, no.
Well, and to that, I also say, it's like, it's like, well, it's peaceful to me. I'm like, yeah, but you were also in the party. So if you're in the party, you're going to be having a bunch of time, a good old time with your butts. you're not the ones trying to walk around your peaceful time to try to
Correct.
get to work or try
That's
to
right.
get home,
Or drive, or
go to sleep.
go in an ambulance to the hospital while you can't fit through all this shit, or have to wait till cars get out of the way, because every minute doesn't actually count when you're in an ambulance trying to get somewhere where they're going to save your life. Like, all of this is bananas. That we even have to keep explaining it. It's super frustrating. But so yeah, now we see them, now that the convoy part is over, like the mandates and stuff. Now they want to, get Trudeau out. Fine, you want to have a political strategy and do this, but that's a whole other story than trying to find places that you can go hate on people.
Right.
That's not what protests are. Protests aren't hate on other civilians. That's not what they are. And
No.
we are not counter protesters. I want to make that clear. When we're at these drag shows, we're not protesters. We're not counter protesters. We're there to support the people that are there. Some people are protectors of the people that are there. Don't categorize us as protesters. We're not protesting a damn thing. We're standing up to protesters. That's what we're doing. So,
in this case, standing up to hate.
100%.
I mean, it's. I mean, this is what we were talking about there. Like, once the mandates and everything else was gone, they were going to be looking for another cause, and sure enough, they found one, which is this. They got and I was expecting to see a lot more in regards to the whole gun thing to be a whole protest movement for them. Because to which I'd be like, all right, it's a valid issue. There's issues as to for the gun regulations, issues against gun regulations, and I'd even be willing to discuss there are some nuances to what's going on in regards to Trudeau's laws going through. And there's a lot to debate and discuss, and I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
This
is different.
This is different.
This is not policy. This is stupid.
It is. It's hateful. It's also damaging to a couple. I mean, they do get the occasional win in regards to a couple of shows closing down. Every so often, one will, they'll get a little shaken by the amount of threats, and I don't think I've got the.
Well, there was a report that somebody cut the bolt cutters at the back of the church or something, or wherever they have bolt cutters, and tried to start a fire. The police had to investigate that at the Brockville Library.
Yes.
So these aren't just like threats. These are people actually trying to carry out these terrorist attacks, these hate crimes. This is what this rhetoric is leading to. People thinking that they have enough support that they could try to burn down a fucking establishment where people are. I mean... Yeah.
No, absolutely 100% agreed. Because I mean, it's scary too, because I mean, I'm trying to see if I can get this one right here too. But you're absolutely right, because I mean, it's, they've tried to bring in they've been whipped up into so much of a hate thing, and I'm not sure if it's because, especially there wasn't this many of them this crazy before.
I want to make an observation for everybody, and maybe you'll notice it from my live video and other people's live video. I think Crystal put some stuff out, and Nico probably put some stuff out, so you can even look at the other side and what they're doing. There was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of yelling at each other. I'm going to set aside the fact that somebody tried to fucking burn down the establishment. That didn't happen while I was there, like in front of my eyes, I should say. And, but nobody was actually getting violent with each other, with the exception of Lee. He's the one who was getting pushy. He's the one who was getting physically aggressive. There was nobody else that was getting physically aggressive. So I want everybody to remember that. there wouldn't have been any physical aggression.
It's quite possible, but I do
It is.
have. No, I know, and I've seen the videos.
Yeah.
I do have something here. Sorry, I'm just learning how to use computers.
What the message that I was receiving from a lot of them was that we were promoting the message to kids that it was okay to be gay or queer. And I agree. That's exactly the message we were promoting. This was a
guilty as charged.
yeah. This was a family-friendly event. It was something that parents had to bring their children to. So it was something that, people could make a choice. If people didn't feel that it was right for them or for their family, they were not being forced to come. And that was all that we were asking, is that people have the freedom to choose what events to bring their children to. The protesters outside were trying to shut that down and say that, no, they had the right to make that decision for our community, and they had that right to make that decision for other families.
You mentioned that there was good cooperation from the police, so everything was sort of under control, and there was never any real issue in terms of potential for violence you felt outside or anything like that.
No, there was lots of love outside because the few protesters that showed up were so vastly outnumbered by the people who were partying with music and dancing. It was someone walked by on their way downtown and they were like, "This is like Pride at Christmas." It was so fun out there. I was out there dancing a lot. The only incident that did happen is somebody did try to set fire to the library Saturday morning. The police are investigating that, and it's in their hands, but it was very clear that was in some way related to the drag story time. They gained access with bolt cutters. Fortunately, we have an extremely robust security system, and our fire chief was on scene within a couple minutes of the alarms going off. So we were all good, but that is certainly scary that I am not aware of any other Ontario library that has actually had that level of vandalism.
That's a fucking hate crime. Okay? That's what that is. Oh, and I saw on Twitter, and I can't, so just don't take my word for it, but somebody had told me that in the clip you showed, Mayor's compilation, the third woman that I was speaking with the hat on, apparently the police are looking to speak with her, as well as another lady that I don't recognize from the protest. I'd have to look back at my video and see if I caught her on there, but
I believe
I'm not
the
sure
one.
if the two things are related or not.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if the two are related, but you never know.
Who knows?
No, absolutely. I thought the last lady you were talking to, this would be the one where you seemed calmer amongst the other ones.
The last lady I was speaking to was older. She was my senior, and she was calm, and I mirror people's energy. So when I went in guns a-blazing, it's because Crystal was already in the midst of her like diatribe, and she had her megaphone. So I matched that energy, and it's really hard to match that energy when it's a megaphone. But near the end, because we were, I think they turned down the music too. Like from when I was speaking to that young girl, who I believe is one of Crystal's daughters. I'm not 100% sure, but we have another video that's going to show you that Crystal brought her daughters to the Welland protest when we bring up the Welland protest. Yeah. But if you look at my live video, you'll see what she looks like. She's wearing a red jacket. She's calm, wearing glasses, and she was agreeing with me. And I'm not sure if you heard, but when I said, remember when women tried to vote and they were throwing eggs and stuff, she said, yep. I said, when they said, think about the children. So, she, I don't know if anything changed her mind, but she was listening and we were talking. I was listening to her.
But wasn't she local?
Yes, she was. Yes, yeah. She was. Yeah, you're right. She was one of the only local people that had come by out of that group of 15 people. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I remember correctly, So you're obviously weren't local, but
Nope.
most of the other people that were there were local. That was
They were
on
local. Yeah,
So the ones protecting the library, they were local.
correct. Not all
Well,
of them. There was a
no.
couple. Well, so I don't even know. I recognized a few of them from the Renfrew protests, and I don't know if they came from Brockville to Renfrew or if they were Renfrew locals and went to Brockville. Not 100% sure. But for the majority, though, of the people that were dancing in front of the library, I believe were Brockville residents.
Excellent.
Yeah, and there were
Okay,
a
nice.
few people driving by, honking their support, not like they were just like beep beep beep, and waving to the people who were outside dancing and having fun. So,
See,
and it was wonderful, actually. Before we move on to Welland, it was great. Camilla loves crafts, and she loves making bracelets. And some of you know, she sent a couple of followers some bracelets when she was selling them in the summer, if you remember. So they had the bracelet set up there to make. Yeah, there you go, Joe.
I still got mine.
Exactly.
Not to worry.
That's right. So, and she, customizes them and stuff like that. Adorbs. Anyway, so she was able to do that throughout the day and give out the bracelets. So, the CEO of the library had reached out to me to just say thank you and whatever. And I said, I want to thank you for that opportunity for Camilla to do something she really enjoys. She loves to share her work. So the next time we go out to one, because they said for every protester that shows up, they're going to hold another drag story time for every protester. So there's 14. They're going to be hosting 14 more, and they're working with other libraries and stuff like that to set that up. So I said that the next one I can go to, I'll bring beads and craft things and stuff for the kids to be able to do, and Camilla would be able to make some. And I said that I would, like, if anybody wants to donate to that, that's such a fun thing for the kids to do, while Camilla is one of those people who likes to do crafts while she's watching something or hearing something, stories and stuff like that. So I think if you guys want to support that, you can, call the library and see how you can make that work or set that up, or, send it down and I'll bring it to the library. I'm looking forward to that when they do that again. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, Jesus. I'm having all sorts of fun technical issues tonight.
Your computer has the flu. It's not just you.
It's spreading.
You're frozen. For me, anyway. I don't know if you're frozen for anybody else, but you're frozen for me. But
I have a replacement cable I still need to fix and put into place.
So then Crystal and her posse and a few other people, keep in mind, most of these people do not have kids. There were a few that did have kids, like the gentleman and Crystal, who has her kids. They're very, very concerned about other people's kids. Sure. But Crystal and her posse also went out to Welland the following day at a restaurant. Like, seriously, you're going to protest a show you don't like that's happening at a restaurant? Is that the new thing now? Like, do we go and protest some show? Like, for real? I don't even understand. And if they're worried about grooming and groomers and stuff like that, I don't even know. Where are you protesting? What bars that have live entertainment are you protesting? I don't even know what to say with that. It's not your business. It's a public space that's hosting their own entertainment that people can choose to go to or not go to. You can not spend your money there, and all you're doing is bringing these businesses more money. Like, did you check Boston Pizza's stocks? I mean, Does anybody watch or listen to Terry O'Reilly on CBC with his Under the Influence? I love that show. And, bad publicity is great publicity. So when you guys do this stuff, I hadn't eaten Boston pizza in over like 10 years. I think they've changed their recipe for their pizza because it was actually pretty good. But I just went just to, do my TikTok video and I realized their pizza's pretty damn good. It's deep dish. I love deep dish pizza. Very much like Pizza Hut. I like it. That's my pizza. What's going on over there, Joe? You're in and out.
I'm having like I said, I'm having all sorts of issues here. Just trying
to protest Hooters, Purple Mavis. No kidding. Like, these guys go to frickin' Hooters with their families. Give me a break. Give me a break. For real. I worked in the restaurant industry for like 20 years. And, oh, Lord. Like, I remember there was one restaurant I worked at. I was like, I wore skirts. And they're like just above the knee, but they were skirts. And I guess the owner was like, noticed that it looked good, but she went, this is when I quit my job. She went all the way to the other side and she got us to go to this sort of, I don't know, like Dynamite, one of those sort of stores. And we bought these shorts, the skirts, and they were like, they just covered my ass cheeks. And the disgusting remarks that I got from my regular customers, because all of a sudden that was their invitation. I was like, nope, I'm done. And I quit that day. I worked there for like a year. And this was a place downtown. It was called the Glue Pot Pub. I don't even know if it's still there. But the Bell Cup, which is like the big hockey tournament for all the kids from all over Canada coming to Ottawa for this championship hockey game. Like, this was a kids environment at times because of this. That's what she wanted us to wear in that. So, I mean, I made a choice. That's what she wanted to do. That's cool. That's her establishment. But I don't want to do that. So I took my stuff and left and found another restaurant that I could work in because restaurants are expendable just like servers are. But that's
Glue Pot. Yeah.
Glue Pot Pub was right above Barbarella Diamonds, but the strip joint downstairs on Queen and Bay, and then they were the restaurant that was upstairs, and all the hotels surrounded that area.
Oh, I remember the place. It's gone.
It's gone. Okay, I don't know.
We actually walked in front of the lot that used to be there when we were going to POC.
We probably did. I wasn't even paying attention. You're right.
Yeah. I think it's now possibly a condo building, and it's got an LRT station underneath it.
Okay.
So, because I remember when we were walking in front of what was the Delta at the time, because I remember at one of the previous places, it used to have staff that used to stay at the Delta all the time. It was on that street.
Yeah.
And I think we were parking in there. Like, you and I were parking into that hotel that's no longer the Delta.
Yep.
I think you were actually, because you kept on sending me to the Marriott and making me walk. It's no longer there across the street. Now it's a skyscraper condo. When I thought I saw
right. Because they were revitalizing, or whatever the word you want. Yeah.
Well, the building was crap.
It was crap. I worked in that building. It was crap. But anyway, that's just a little tidbitty story. It's just like, I'm not going to get up and start protesting that place because they make their waitresses wear, hoochie shorts or whatever you want to call them, and kids are going to show up. Like, it's just, if you turn away, it's not in your life. It's not a problem to you. It doesn't change people.
No, and
if it does, it's still not your problem. It's the parents' problem. That's what freedom is.
Yeah, and there's I think you've done some tweets on this. I've I did a little bit of messaging, but I am not feeling well, so I haven't been able to do as much messaging about it too. But I think one of the biggest things is their argument saying we're thinking of the children, trying to protect the children is bullshit.
Yeah, it's always been bullshit. It's the same.
It's always been bullshit, but I mean, it's one of those like you're afraid of drag time story time where people are just dressing up in loud costumes, which I'm sorry, people have been doing that for kids for a long time, whether it be clowns and sideshows to Mr. Dress Up.
Yeah, you saw the post where we took Camilla and her birthday friends. I didn't post her pictures. I looked for them because you laugh. They were all like had the mustaches on and the pirate hats. And it's so if anybody who hasn't done this, the pirate ship on Mooney's Bay, I recommend you do it if you have kids. It is a lot of fun. And they put on a whole production and it's like a whole play and you're part of the play on this pirate ship. And it's fun. But they're totally dressed, in opposite sex. Some of them are the male pirates. Some of them are the hench women. I don't know what you call them, whatever it is. And
don't think it's historically accurate, so they don't care.
Whatever. Yeah, and neither do the kids, and neither do the parents. Like, just come on. It's just dumb. Just get over it.
I think I'd fit into that whole no makeup needed, no costume. So just come as I am. Just be there. There we go. I'd fit in. I'm sure of it. But yeah, no, but to me it was just like, yeah, these guys are like absolutely mad about this particular event.
Yeah.
And you've asked them, and I remember asking them on the live stream before. Both you and I were asking these guys, Nico and Peters, on their live streams last week.
God, that was annoying.
I know, and they did it for 3 hours too. Apparently, Nico does it all the time. Like, dude, that's some
for like
serious
10
hate.
People watching too. Like, just
we brought up his numbers.
Yeah,
we brought up his numbers.
Just get to the point and then move on. But yeah, he got flustered by me. That was cool. Jesse too.
Yeah. You got him the first hour, I got him the second hour.
Nice.
Oh yeah. So we kept him busy. And he tried to get me to go on to his show, and I just like no.
I wanted to go on, but I couldn't go on. I would have loved to go on. It would have been a lot calmer because we're just like face to face on a video. Then
I had sent you the link. I'm sure he'd more than willing to have you jump on there.
Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't care anymore. I already talked to him. There's no point in talking to him. Then I didn't know where he was, but he's a flat earther. Forget you. There's nothing. Yeah, he's totally a flat earther. He says it's in the first couple of paragraphs of the book of Genesis in the beginning pages. Like, just don't even bother with that guy. He's a lost cause. Fucking lost cause.
That puts him at the top level on the conspiracy level.
Yeah, that's right, on the pyramid.
Yeah, puts him on the top level. Because if you're willing to believe flat Earth, you're pretty much willing to believe anything at that point.
Yeah, he's totally devoted to a God that he has no clue about because he's never read the Bible. He swore he read the Bible, but he was full of shit. Anyway, but Welland, they showed up at Welland and got owned at Welland.
Yeah, so
this is just a small piece. So this is actually a video from Melissa 1234 on TikTok. She had put out. She was live streaming, so I was able to watch most of her live. But she's only put out clips of the event. I kind of wish she had put out more because there were a few things. There was a vet that you're not going to see, I think, in this video, but he's a veteran. And he got into it with Nico because Nico is walking around acting like he's doing the country anything. And this guy's like, you've done nothing for this country. And he was so well spoken. And when Crystal's daughters tried to speak to him, see, this is opposite of what the Convoy people do to my daughter. She talks to them, but they try to ask her these stupid questions or whatever. The daughters kept trying to speak to him. He's like, I am not talking to you. You're a child. You have no opinion. Don't talk to me. You're a child. You have no opinion. And then Crystal loses her mind and starts jumping around as if her point was made. I'm like, lost her mind, like jumping like up and down. And she's like, that's what I've been saying. It's like,
Oh, wait a second. That would be.
That is,
Why a 10-year-old can ask for
Yeah.
lip rod and get it? You just proved my point.
That's a medical issue. That's a medical
That
issue.
10-year-old
It's
shouldn't
none of
be
your
making.
business. It's a
A
medical
10-year-old
issue.
shouldn't be
It's a
making
medical
that
issue.
decision.
It's a medical
A
issue. If I
10-year-old
wanna bring
should
my
not
child-
have the
if I
right
wanna
to
bring my
make
child
that
to a
decision.
Can you stop it
And
for a
you
sec?
just said it. You just
Oh,
said
okay.
it. You just said it 15.
It's too late. The person that's behind her with the person with the blue coat, I think, is one of her daughters, and the girl right beside her with the red hood. And the girl that I'm talking about that's beside her, she looks like she's got to be like 13 years old or something. Like she's still young. And then the one that's beside her, I'd give her maybe 14, 15 years old. But anyways, go ahead. Let's listen to Crystal freaking.
Medical issue. It's a medical
A
issue.
10-year-old should not have the right to make that decision. And you just said it. You just said it. You just said it 15. She's gonna have a heart attack.
Fucking bad. Even though I was an idiot until just now. Thank you so much.
I'm
not talking to you.
At 16, she's
Look at her kids screaming and yelling at adults.
make lifelong decisions.
See that?
They're following the parent.
But no, it's not only that they're following the parent. Camilla doesn't yell at the protesters because she knows she can't. How many times you've probably heard it in my lives? Mom, can I say this to them? No, you may not. This is not a fight between you and them. This is adults speaking. She can be there and observe. But this is the point I was trying to make. You think because I swore I actually am honest about how I behave no matter where I am and whatever, you know what I mean? Like I don't yell and, whatever. And you think that these people are only doing that when they're at these protests, but they're not teaching that to their children and allowing it from their children. It's not just teaching it to their children. So now you see her children screaming and yelling at adults they don't even know, judging adults they don't even know. Yep. Camilla's too young. Like she's witty and she calls people out. Like she'll make these comments that are just so unbelievably advanced and she's figured it out. But no, she cannot mistreat, other people. She can't yell at other people. She stands there and the people who think that she's sitting there and she's all embarrassed, she's the one who walks over and she's watching and she's paying attention. And whether or not you guys think that she should be paying attention or not, that's a cool argument. We can get into that argument. We can get into that debate. But she will never open her mouth and yell at somebody unless they're getting too close to her. But those girls, if you play it again, are doing the Crystal move where they are reaching in, walking towards, pushing their presence out to the other person. So that's the behavior you need to look at. That's the behavior you need to pay attention to. How these kids are behaving.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one thought I have right now was Kimo's probably gonna be something interesting when she turns 18.
Oh, 100%. She's already interesting now. I don't even know. She's always had a mind of her own. She's always had a very strong will and strong personality. And that can be challenging. I'm that way as well. So, but it's important though that that energy is focused in my opinion, and she knows why that energy is there and how to control it. I've been in really, people who have been with us for as long as, you've been with us back since August. Mm-hmm. I've been in pretty tense situations and situations where people have been violent towards me and I reciprocated. And most of the time, so like when I was a teenager and that shit happened, I saw red and I only saw red and I kept punching or hitting or whatever. until, I had to snap out of that because it was survival at that point. Now it's like, no, you're doing it for a specific purpose to get your property back or to get somebody off of you, just defense. And it's not an easy switch for me. Like, it's like, let go now that this thing has been accomplished. Camilla won't have those skills, right? She won't understand that. So, or Crystal's daughters or whatever. Anyway, I wonder if they get into fights with their friends, not friends, but people at their school. I wonder if they're considered bullies. I often wonder that. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're gonna go chase them down to find out.
Somebody,
We will not.
Tequila says, keep conversations going and open at all times with Camilla, especially when she becomes a teenager. Look, Tequila, you're speaking my language. It's exactly what I did with Isaac. Everything that I went through, I explained to my son that this is a lesson for something else that's coming. Like, we have to know how to handle these situations that come at us, adversity, anger, happiness. Like, don't make promises when you're happy, and don't say things when you're angry, whatever the saying is. We did that all the time. And Isaac and I were joined at the hip, just like Camilla and I are joined at the hip. There's a lot of love there. There's conflict, and because it's child and parent dynamic. She's not an angel. She still asks for things that she can't get when we're in the store. She still negotiates the shit out of life, right? Like, I'm the parent. I can provide her with certain things that she can have access to. And she's going to push and push and push until I either give in or, hey, no, you cannot have this, right? So that there's still that parenting dynamic. And we talk all the time. She asks questions. She asks very good questions. Some people could learn from the questions that she asks, because there's a truth to, she's looking for, these questions are not rhetorical. They're not sarcastic. They are coming from a place of wonder. And so, it's not the same thing as some of the idiotic questions we've been fielding on Twitter and stuff like that. Like, these are this is who children are, and that's why they're not as confused as these adults are.
No. And she's pretty good there. I've got the one last video from Welland. So this is, again.
Oh, you have another one for Welland. Good.
Yeah. It's got a little bit more crystal. Because, I think it's got...
I got some more Hell Satans, you see that?
Oh, and Nico.
I'm fucking serious. These people... I asked them, what are their thoughts on Satanism? And boom! They know, they throw out the hand sign. They're just so excited to say it now. Trust me, this is really what's going on. This is really what's going on. You guys saw it yesterday in Brockville, 5 freaking hours from here. Those people don't even know each other, but they're all throwing out the same Hell Satan hand signs. This cult is satanic, just like I've been telling you all. Evil, pure evil.
It's fucking crazy.
I just got some more Hell Satans out of them.
Secret
They're all Satanists,
go
all of
to
them.
a Black Sabbath concert. Everybody's doing it.
That's crazy.
Reporter here that I know,
who
wants to do a fair story. I told him you're wearing your LGBT flag because you're not against the community. You're against the kids. So this is Alan Benner here.
Okay, bro.
And I told him you'll do an interview with him.
Right,
I just did one too. So.
Okay.
Alan, this is my friend Nico.
Hey, Alan. Good. Yeah. See how hateful they are. You see them. They hate God. They don't believe in God. They hate Jesus, but they love Satan. It's no longer a secret. No longer a secret. This and that. Oh, you have friends that are this. Oh, you have family members. I'm like, okay.
Hate God. They don't.
I think so.
He looks like Uncle Fester.
That's two mutually exclusive ideas.
Anyways, it's nuts down here.
Free hot dogs! Anyone get your free hot dogs? Get your dogs! We're still
tough sell. Tough crowd. Anyways, I'll be back.
Yeah, that's not really the guy I want to get free hot dogs from.
No, he's a disgusting piece of shit, and he's been in Twitter sphere quite a bit now.
Mr. Josh Bigger.
Mr. Josh Bigger.
Yes.
What an idiot. Like he totally made an ass of himself, throwing his friends under the bus. And I don't even care if there's a. I mean, are you going to play the video? Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't spoil it, or we could just talk about it since people have seen it. But
people have seen it now. We could probably watch the second part. I don't know if there's any specific parts of the first one because the first one's about over 6 minutes.
Yeah,
of him
the
just
first
going
one
around
is
circles.
basically there are 3 players, 4 if you want to include the minor. There is some guy named Kyle and Josephine. Those 2 are a pair. They have a 14-year-old son, or Kyle's son, and Josephine. I know that they're together, and then there's a son who's 14.
Yeah.
And then this other guy, Dave. And so apparently, according to Josh in the video, at their stupid Convoy event somewhere, this 14-year-old kid was partying with the rest of them and getting drugs and alcohol. This is alleged by Josh. Was getting drugs and alcohol by the father, approved by Josephine, if Josephine is the mother or just some, stepmother or whatever she is. And Dave is texting this 14-year-old. So Kyle is saying that Kyle, the father of this 14-year-old, is claiming that Dave is grooming his 14-year-old son. It's a big fucking mess. It's a clusterfuck of disgustingness. So at the end of the last video, actually, maybe play that one and because I don't remember if it's part of this video or not, but there's something I wanted to bring up.
From the last one?
I think it's the last one. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Like the one you want to play. I'm pretty sure it's
Kyle, the father did something wrong, and Josephine, you're defending Kyle's actions. So I didn't want to bring this in because there's a little child involved, and there was no proof. The cops were involved. There was no evidence. No charges were laid. So there it is. There it fucking is. So are you fucking happy, Kyle, you fucking shitty dad? And Josephine, you shitty fucking human being? All I'm trying to do is stay partial, and you drag me into your fucking septic fucking lives. Stick to the program, stick to fighting for the fundamental rights of Canadians, which is the Charter of Rights, which our government infringed upon. And that's why I'm here. I'm not here to fight your fucking battles because you're bad parents and give your kids fucking drugs. I'm not here to fucking do that. Smarten the fuck up, both of you.
Can I just say one thing? We heard the bomb about 50 times in that fucking video, and I'm saying it now too. Do you honestly think that when he was at this party with the rest of them and that 14-year-old kid was there, they were minding their fuck words? Do you honestly think that these people care about the language that they use, but these are the same people who are judging me for the language? So let's just put it out there. Like, my point is people don't just automatically turn it off when they go home. Let's be serious about this.
No. I mean,
and yeah, that 14-year-old kid should not have been part of that party if that 14-year-old kid was there. It wasn't in that video that you sent, but it was at the end of the last video, and he basically said the kid was getting drugs from the parents and alcohol. So here we have illegal substances given to a minor. Some guy maybe texting a 14-year-old for purposes that are not.
That might be the second video. Hang on.
Maybe. And
you guys drag me into it. Kyle Payton, you're a terrible father for giving your kids marijuana, for giving your kids magic mushrooms, to allow your child to be in an adult party where things can happen, where he can get hurt. You and Josephine are bad people. You want to come after me? I did nothing to anybody. All I've ever supported was the movement which fights for the fundamental rights of Canadians, which is the Charter of Rights that we want to uphold. I stand against anybody grooming children, but I need evidence to prove otherwise. So if you guys give me an evidence, a video of Dave, whatever he did, I'll gladly share it. All I got was some text messages, which were weird. From Dave's point of view, that was really weird. Another thing is too, Kyle, you're giving your kids drugs, and that is fucked up. Never give your kids drugs, eh? You know it's against the law to give your children drugs, especially marijuana or alcohol, and you want me to join sides? You're all three are idiots, first of all, for one, condoning drinking and drugs with children. Second of all, Josephine, you're thinking that I'm defending a groomer? No, I'm just staying out of a situation that's full of idiots. So I'm done with the conversation that I defended somebody who's a groomer, because all three of you are idiots. You're all groomers in my mind. You're giving kids drugs. You're inviting kids into an adult party. I wasn't there. I don't give a shit. I stand for the fundamental rights of Canadians, and that's my point of view. I might do it in a comedic value, in a way it's different than anybody else, but that's how I do it. I put funny stuff out to show awareness.
No, this
Now,
is not
Josephine and Kyle, you can fuck off.
He says something about Josephine banging on a drum that she can't bang on. So I didn't have a chance to look it up because I was trying to put Camilla to bed and we were late. But was Josephine one of those people who was pretending to be Indigenous and appropriating the drumming? And so they hit three different things in there. One is the pedophilia, grooming, if you will. The other one is like bad parenting by giving your child substances that their bodies are still developing. You shouldn't be doing that. And then the other one is possibly appropriation. Like, awesome friends, dude. And the thing is he knew all of these things were happening way back when it happened and talked about it just now because he's being dragged into it. So you knew that there was a possibility that a child was being groomed, and you're saying you want to watch a video for proof? Who fucking watches? What parent? If something, God forbid, happened to any of my children and they were sexually assaulted, I'm not going to be sharing with my friends so that they can believe me and my child a video of my child getting SA'd. Like, get a fucking grip. This is the stupidity of the mentality here.
No, I'd probably be seeing you at the police station.
Oh, God. Like,
but apparently he also fucked up.
All right, let me know if we got sound this time, guys. Apparently they cut my sound, so my videos have no sound. So you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Probably just shut my whole channel down now. Too much truth.
Yeah, too much truth. That's why you have to backtrack, bud.
All right, somebody comment if you can hear my fucking voice. They shut my sound off last time. All right, we got fucking sound. Give me a thumbs up there. We got sound. Okay. All right. What I was saying is that last night I put a video out calling out Josephine and Kyle, and then mentioning that Dave was accused of grooming. I read the text messages he sent to the 14-year-old boy. There's nothing in there that would say he was grooming the child sexually. Not that I condone having a relationship or conversations with a young child, but after speaking with Dave, there's a family dynamic. They were friends with the family. They've been hanging out before. The father knew about this. So they want me to come online and throw accusations out about alleged incidents that happened, but there's no proof. There was allegedly a video of David doing something wrong. They never showed me the video. I asked several times. They never proven this video. So they've never shown me this. They've told everybody about this video. They never shown. Allegedly they called the police and did a report. The police laid no charges. So Dave told me personally. Dave reached out to me and said he never did anything with this child. He never even touched him. He just had a conversation about this to this child because his dad's been giving him drugs and Dave was worried about the child. That's why they had a conversation. The dad's giving the kids drugs. The dad's a fucking idiot. Josephine, his girlfriend, she's also a terrible parent. I don't think she has custody of her kids either. So I'd like to retract the statement about calling Dave a creep. I apologize for that. I don't want to be involved with this situation anymore. Another thing I want to get straight is that Dave from Live the Shed and everyone else in the Live from the Shed, there was a great group of people that were helping be a great voice of the community. And a really partial voice to the community. So there's more people than Dave just involved in Live from the Shed. It was Sam from up north. It was Jay who made the truck. It was everyone that worked together in the front of the Parliament over the convoy. So
Is he making sure that he covers his bases when Dave is no longer going to be part of Live from the Shed? Don't worry, there's still a whole bunch of us still here. Like, what the hell was that?
Oh, I think there's a second part to it, but I'm not going to bother. But yeah, I think the whole thing is just cover my ass, cover my ass, cover my ass, cover my ass.
For
Maybe I
sure.
shouldn't have done so much pot and yelling onto the fucking streams last night.
Anyway,
but
it's
very true.
I was sent a lot of stuff from Josh Bigger, and he just was a total idiot. He's an ass clown. He's just so stupid. And people think his humor is funny, and that's cool. I mean, he makes his own type of art, and he has an audience for it, but it's not my cup of tea. So I didn't think anything of it, but now, we're starting to hear some other things that have been coming out of, which we knew we would eventually. Like, anyways, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, the style of his messaging, I've seen a bit of his stuff. I haven't seen that much, but I'm not surprised because, I mean, we've seen Convoy stuff before, or popularity. Like, in some ways, Pleb is similar to him. They go for shock.
Josh?
Yeah, not the same style.
So.
Not the same style of humor in regards to what Josh does versus what Pleb does, but they're going for shock.
I think maybe I thought that of Gucci when I first met him, but I don't like. Okay, so yes, there are those moments in his spaces and stuff that's happening, but I've also watched some of his news releases that he puts out. He got brave today. Got a lot of fucking shit for it. He actually took like a firm stance on the fact that fuck PPC, everybody needs to unite to be CPC because the main goal here is to get Trudeau out, and he fucking pissed off because a lot of the people that are following him, not the majority, like he's just gained another 1,000 followers. So, I mean, whatever. But these people were pretty pissed off at him, and he was getting some hardcore, whatever. But to me, he's definitely in strategy mode. And so Josh Bigger is an ass clown, like I said, who has no real end goal. He says it's because we're fighting for the charter, but everybody knows that behavior is not going to get you anywhere closer to your goal. What Gucci or the Pleb is doing is completely different. He's getting people engaged in actual intelligent strategic conversations on his platform and allowing other voices. I'm not the only lefty who's been able to talk on his space. No. There was Kobe.
Kobe was one. Captain Kobe, I've ever seen.
Is a guy's name Andrew? Is there a guy's name Andrew? There was another guy who was speaking, and then there's some libertarian voices, and then you have your CPC and your PPC people talking as well. But no, Josh Bigger. If we're going to talk politics and we're talking about strategic, and if liberals, if you go on the liberal side or if you vote on the NDP side, I'll tell you what I haven't seen. And if I'm wrong and you guys can send me these spaces, I feel like the right wing people they're putting on a lot of spaces and they're giving themselves a lot of opportunity to really talk through the issues. And I'm not seeing that on the liberal side, and I'm not seeing it on the NDP side. And I could be totally wrong, and I want to join those conversations if they have them. But I think the right is mobilizing. And aside from the Convoy shit, there are people who legitimately want conservatives to win, and the Convoy stuff is not appealing. Like, there's your traditional conservatives who got the vaccine, who promoted the vaccine, who did not support the Convoy, but they're still conservative. So they're all talking now, and they're really working through And it's messy, but democracy is messy, but they're working through that stuff. Josh Bigger brings nothing to the table.
No.
So Gucci is doing something completely different, and he's getting people on his platform. Like, I met him a month ago, and he's gotten 5,000 new followers, and they're not bought and paid for in the past month or two. These aren't bought and paid for like other people we know who got 10,000 in like one day.
Yeah. He is an interesting platform. He's sticking to it quite a bit. There's a fair amount that he'll go through in regards to and it's interesting that he has said some statements that I know has upset his fan base, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Oh, he said shit that's pissed me right the fuck off, and today was one of those days.
And he said shit that pissed you off, but he's also said shit that pissed off his own fan base, which I thought was interesting too. And I'm like, all right, well, that makes me curious when you're willing to piss off your own.
I feel like he's being legit. He's telling his own. I mean, legit. Okay, let's be clear. Let me caveat that. I feel like when in his quest to beat Trudeau, forget about the tactics that he uses and stuff. I think he really means that, and there's
a sincerity to his messaging.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And to
even though I don't like some of the way he does it in platforms.
Oh, yeah. No, and that's
he's his own person.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's nothing. There's nothing wrong there. But I mean, he's his own person.
Yep.
And he's legitimately means what he says, which is, the first glance of him, you're looking like, I'm not sure if I can take you seriously. Which I still can't. But I also wasn't sure if he was, really buying what he was selling. And I think you might be right. I think, he may be, convinced of the messaging he's doing. And what gives that credence.
He's also not stupid.
No, he's not stupid.
He's not even this guy's pretty smart. And so the point of this conversation is that the people on the left, or not the left, the people who are not prescribing to what we're hearing, like the stupid drag stuff, like the culture war, the anti-vaccine rhetoric or antivirus rhetoric or WEF, all of those things, and Elon being the savior, like, they're all talking. Are we? Like, I know we're doing this platform, but are we opening up a space and everybody kind of shares their opinion, not just typed out, but like has a conversation? We need to start doing that, I think.
Well, I got an idea.
All right.
I'm going to set up a poll in a second.
Okay.
A little bit later, I'll get you to share it too.
Sounds good. Oh, can I do that on my phone? Everything.
Well, I'll set up the poll, and you can just retweet it.
Okay.
And this way, we'll just have the one poll, and we'll see if people are interested in if we want to run a space, and if so, we can start talking about times and whatnot, and see.
I think also, even though they're working hard on pushing the right to win this election, they're not sold on Pierre Poilievre. And so, and they're not, and no, nor should they, exactly. And they know this, or a lot of them know this. And same with Maxime Bernier. And so it's kind of like what's the word? Is quagmire the right word? Like they're kind of in a
quagmire. Yeah, they are in a quagmire. The one thing I will give Maxime Bernier over Poilievre, I do believe Maxime Bernier believes what he says.
Oh yeah, and to them,
he's been saying it for a long time.
He was right from the beginning. This is their statements are. Yeah. Maxime Bernier, from the beginning of whatever their grievance, where their grievance really started, has been voicing that. But the issue with Maxime Bernier is that he did start these stupid, nonsensical culture wars when he was, separating. And the other problem with Maxime Bernier is that he publicly said that his goal is to destroy the CPC. So this is a quagmire, because what is his intention really true, or is he just trying to bust apart the CPC and he becomes the new leader of the right? Like, we're talking about two peacocks like battling for.
Well, this is he's hoping to do what the Reform did. Like, I mean, you and I both remember.
Yeah.
We had the Progressive Conservative Party. Then we had the Reform Party. And then Reform Party and Conservatives split the votes. They were able to do that because Reform came out of the West.
Together. Yeah.
Well, the Reform came out of the West with Preston Manning. They had enough control in the West because they all came from the West. They're like, no, it's this is now our province. Split the votes and never had enough power anymore. Then they finally said, oh, you know what? Maybe we should get together. And at the time, I remember Joe Clark's like, you guys want to get together, just join back the Conservative Party. That's where you guys came from anyways. Eventually, Clark left, and then the whole thing merged, and then you had Harper. And so we had the first dip down to
Was it
Clark
right. that brought everybody together, or was it Harper? Harper was from Alberta, was he not?
Harper was from Clark was a CPC.
Okay.
Clark said no. When Clark left, that's when they merged.
Right.
I can't remember the exact timeline, but Clark had to leave before that happened.
Yes, that makes sense.
Exactly. So then after that came in. I don't think it was because there was it was Harper and Stockwell Day at the time.
Oh my God, I was on a flight with Stockwell Day. I haven't heard that name in forever. What a little weasel. What a weenie.
Stockwell Day, Harper, and basically a bunch of those conservatives, they kind of battled it out. Then Harper won, had leadership. Then we had the Harper days because they were fun until he left. Trudeau came in. I'm not forgetting about Mulroney. Mulroney's like way before.
We gotta remember who. So I actually, it's funny, the day that I was on the plane with Stockwell Day, I got a plane ran off the runway in Montreal where we were, and so we were delayed overnight. But it was the same night as one of the Quebec MPs died. And who was the guy? I can't believe I can't remember his name. We had Michael Ignatieff run for the Liberal Party, but before him, it was that he was a biologist or he was like scientist. He was French.
Stéphane.
Stéphane Guillaume. No, Stéphane.
Dion.
Yeah, Stéphane Dion. Right. So they were all there because they were all going back either from the. Anyway, I remember that.
Stéphane Dion. There we go.
Yeah.
It was. I remember him. He was the leader for the Liberal Party during the Harper years for one of the terms.
One term, yeah. And then Michael Ignatieff, and he got roasted because he was like American and lived most of his life in the United States. And maybe the right wing shooting themselves in the foot, they would have had like a guy who was from the States who could bring in the Second Amendment for them or whatever it is they're looking for.
Yeah, no, there was a whole, well, I mean, they've had a whole bunch. There's, during that particular time, I remember like looking at the leaders that the Liberals are putting up, I'm like, none of these guys are going to win. None of these guys are like,
no, they're uninspiring.
They're uninspiring. Like, I remember Stéphane Dion. Yeah, absolutely. He was interesting.
Smart.
He was very, very smart. He was a professor. But that doesn't give you leadership stuff. No. So there was a lot of lacking there. So it was interesting. And you're right. I mean, these guys are all like bucking for trying to get an election. They're getting a lot of support as it comes right now. But he has right now still got a bit of the shining support going on. But, he's like, oh, look, I've got the most numbers right now. I can win. And I'm like, no, you can't. If the election occurred today, you've got more votes in areas that you already had the votes.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not looking at a seat change. If anything, you're going to be staying exactly the same. And at worst, you're going to be losing some seats. So that's not a good thing. And possibly moving the Liberals to a majority.
Well, I feel like So I just want to agree with their concerns, which is how fucking expensive it is to do groceries, how expensive it is to buy consumer goods, like and everybody's noticing when they're going grocery shopping. I can't imagine you're not noticing. I can't imagine you haven't noticed that, like, I don't know, the staples that you buy. So for me, it's like we get turkey bacon every once in a while, and it was like $4.99. Now it's fucking $7.99 for like a small package of turkey bacon. Well, I guess we're not gonna, like, you know what I mean? Now you're being picky and choosy, and you know, and you're not getting anywhere close to as far as you could have. So, and we know that the grocery stores are raking in the profits. So this is the point of government right fucking here. This shit that's happening to us, that's your point, government. You need to fucking step in and be like, no, this is how it's going to be. And I don't know how hard that negotiation is, because the grocery chains have monopolized Canada, that it could be a total collapse. Like how do you, it's like elevator companies. There's only 3 major ones, and they can't find them for, going against the TSSA, because it would cause a total meltdown for businesses and government buildings and stuff, because these elevator companies are, like, this is what we've done to ourselves. Yeah, this is what we've done to ourselves with almost everything. Roger Shaw merger that's about to happen. Like fuck, government, this is where you step in. This is where you take care of your people. You stop this shit from happening. This is the last time moment that you want companies to rob your people and starve them at the same fucking time. It's ridiculous. And so if the Liberals don't get a handle on that, it will take them. So the Liberals need to fucking do something now. Like yesterday. We've been talking about this for way too long. Yesterday, or you're losing the election. I guarantee it. They will lose the election. Guaranteed.
I don't know if they'll lose it on that, because it really is going to depend on when the election comes around, what's on people's minds. I'm not disagreeing with you, but politically, 3 years from now, because right now everything looks like it's going to be it's not going to be till 3 years from now.
It's not necessarily 3 years if the NDP pull out of that coalition, because people are banging down the door saying my fucking grocery bill is too high. Why does it have to get to that point? It's going to get to that point. Why wait till the 3 years? Your strategy should be listen to your fucking people now, fix the shit, because if you wait 3 years from now, it's one thing to save money. It takes forever. But once you blow that money because you have no choice or whatever, it is so hard to recuperate. So that pain is a long-term pain, and it will be felt and remembered at election time. And so the Liberals need to fucking do something now.
No, and you're right. I mean, the only thing I can think of is, the Liberals and actually just the entire government does call in the heads of these companies and say, okay, you guys are coming in and you guys are going to answer the questions of the people now.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's not even a huge action for them to do this. This is not, you're not asking them to do anything more than just like, no. And they've called in many other organizations before. I mean, I remember them calling in Hockey Canada for quite a few investigations.
Yeah.
And other companies, I think.
Get on with it.
Yeah. Just call them in, call the 3 of them in and say, okay, let's talk about these prices.
Yeah.
The cost of the goods didn't go up. So why the hell are the cost of at the retail gone up? What's going on? And start explaining yourselves, because people are hurting.
Oh, just refund people their money. I don't fucking explain yourself, but I don't give a shit about the explanation. I mean, we're going to hear it. We're going to find out what it is, because that's what an audit is.
Yeah, but it's
not them telling us what happened. It's the Auditor General that tells us what happened and puts out the points that needs to happen. That's why there needs to be a fucking inquiry, or, whatever it is, speed truck this thing. This has to happen now.
But I want to see them
remember the bread scandal?
Yeah.
Loblaws sends a $25 fucking gift certificate because they've been overcharging us for bread for the last 10 years or whatever that amount was. Like, Lord.
No, agreed. That's what I said. Bring them in and start publicly shaming them.
Yeah.
Big on public shaming. What else?
These are the things we need to be protesting. We need to be going. I don't know, how to set up a protest. I just show up to these places. But for me, if people were to tell me that they were going to go protest in front of Loblaw's headquarters or something like that, fucking let's do that shit. Or if you want to protest, I don't even know. Like there's just ways to send out your message and everybody comes out and says enough is enough. Like we can't wait till the breaking point, and our government can't wait till the breaking point. It needs to happen now.
Agreed. All right. Before we get to the last thing, because we're coming up to the end of the hour, there is one other thing I needed to bring up.
Yep. What is it?
Well, sorry.
Do I know what it is?
Yes. So, some people have been speaking out quite a bit on regards. Sorry, there's been a lot of action going on Twitter in regards to certain lawyer conversations you've had with a lawyer. I've had a couple of people ask. Sorry,
I've had a couple of conversations with a couple of lawyers. Which one? Karima?
Yes,
are we talking about Karima?
We are talking about
let's
Karima.
name her by name.
All right. So yeah, conversation with Karima, and people have asked me a couple of things too. I tried to stay quiet, try to stay neutral, and try to stay out of the whole thing.
You can't be neutral in this situation.
I try to be civil. One of us has to, in regards in general. But I've also, I need to come out to talk to everybody about this, exactly where there is. And I've even prepared some notes, so I'm going to read a bit about it too. So after this, actually I'm going to rewind and start back at just as everything was sort of coming out in regards to everything I want to bring up to this. And what I mean by coming out is in regards to Bowie. So I've always been able to, I've been a follower of Karima since the beginning of the Convoy, as many people had, particularly during the Convoy. Her followers increased. This is what we did. She was at the front. We wanted to see what her activity was. We wanted to see what was going on with the Convoy. I didn't have much of a problem there. So as I started doing my stream myself, and I started, discussing with other people and started, meeting with other people, Sheep King, for example. I've actually had a couple of chances to actually talk to Karima via DM. And usually it's some minor things, particularly like, for example, before this was, I sent her messages in regards to the Bowie stories coming out to say, hey, FYI, this story just leaked out in regards to Bowie. I know you've been working with him. This is just more to prepare you. It's being kind. And didn't speak too much of that. Then also the second story when basically more stories came out. Same thing, let her know. She says, well, we had a couple conversations. She wasn't crazy about those stories coming out, but who would be? This is, like many of us, we had a certain expectation of Bowie. To find this out kind of freaked us all out. So when the conversation changed a little bit was around December 7th or 8th. And this is when stories came out in regards to Bowie that tried to connect Bowie and some of the activities into the Old Resistance Cats Discord. And this one kind of, this one got me a little bit because I was in that Discord. And this got a little bit upsetting towards me because there's a couple of accusations that came out of this whole thing, and it really, really irked me.
Well, it pissed a lot of us off because it was fucking blatantly false and ridiculous that anybody would make such fucking claims.
Agreed. But let's
Based
break them
on
down.
what?
Yeah, but let's break them down. So there's 4 of them that I wanted to go through, and there's 4 of them that I heard that I had issues with. The first one was that the old RC Discord was used for organizing attacks onto Karima.
She thinks she's so fucking important, that woman. You're not fucking important, man. We were doing some real shit.
Hang on. It might be perception, or it might be what she was told.
I don't. So then,
we get told things all the time. This is why I'm always very, I'm very specific on the idea. Can we verify whatever information we see now at this point?
Right.
Because there is constantly the chance of bad actors. Now, I want to make sure anything that gets told to me, I can verify it. So the first one was that one. Now, and if that was the only issue, I'm like, you know what? If somebody told her that, fine.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was she accused the old Resistance Cats Discord for grooming women for Bowie.
What a fucking piece of shit thing to say.
Hang on, I still got 2 more to go through. Let me get through them all here. So that one also got me grooming the women for Bowie by bringing him into the Discord for him. Third one, she accused a gentleman by the name of Clayton Goodwin. Somebody I've met personally many times, as well as Deana.
Yeah,
we both know him very well.
Yeah,
accused him of being a mod and also help bring these women over to Bowie, and more directly. Help bring in the Bowie and more. And the last one being, she also accused Clayton Goodwin himself of being Spacey Daisy and a couple of other accounts that are hunting and attacking. That are following and attacking Karima.
Is that what she's saying? Like, why you said it like that? Do you mean that this is what she's saying, or they're actually attacking Karima?
No, this is what she's saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying this is what she says.
Yeah.
So she could be correct about she's being harassed. I wouldn't be too doubtful at today. I mean, there's a lot of shots going back and forth. That's fine. But at the time, I don't know. And I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm just saying she believes Clayton Goodwin is Spacey Daisy and possibly some other accounts doing these attacks. So I'm going to go over 2 parts here. First one being Clayton Goodwin. Again, as I said, Deana and I know Clayton. We know Clayton very well. So the background on Clayton is that he's, from his wording, as I've talked to him a little bit more today, just to get a little bit clearance. He's not on Twitter. He's very, very, sorry.
He has an account. He's hardly ever on it.
Correct. He's not very active on Twitter. He doesn't like Twitter too much. He finds it very toxic.
He doesn't like social media. Social media is too noisy for him, and he's not a social media guy.
Yeah. So his wording was, as he said, he's a disabled BIPOC veteran who doesn't go on social media very much. Doesn't interact with social media very much. If he does, he'll be with people like myself and Deana. Just very small, certain people for very specific conversations that he feels that he can, they're decent, they're not too toxic, that he can have a good conversation with, which I totally understand. Sometimes you just want to have that group, and even I will do that too. Most of the time, he spends the majority of the time working for his own personal nonprofit that he's made, in regards, and which is to work with veterans. The rest of the time, he's working for advocacy for both veterans. Veterans. I'm saying it in a funny way. I apologize. For veterans as well as for other vulnerable people in the city. He's a local activist,
and he's a big campaigner during election time.
Oh, absolutely.
He was a campaigner.
During the municipal election, he pretty much disappeared from Tupac and the other events because he was just busy working there. He does a lot of work.
To sum it up, he's a hands-on man. He's not like a social media whatever. He gets shit done away from the keyboard. if that makes any sense.
The short point is on this one is he's not any. He's got a long history and well documented history of his advocacy work, both here and there. He's done a lot of work for there. Oh, he's also done a lot of work with Horizon Ottawa. I remember him talking about a lot of stuff he worked with them for.
Yeah.
That's just who he is. So when these accusations and people looking for Clayton coming out, you're coming out after a disabled BIPOC veteran that doesn't interact with social media.
Look, it's not only that.
He didn't even know who Karima was when
we
he first
all
heard about
called her on it. It like, she went after some guy she doesn't even fucking know, got bad intel for. Even if the person that she cast in that certain light wasn't a veteran, wasn't BIPOC, wasn't disabled, it is fucking wrong as fuck to throw somebody under the bus making all these claims about them being a groomer for fucking women. You stupid, idiotic fucking idiot. Are you a lawyer? Is that what lawyers do? Lawyers just fucking throw these terms onto people they don't know and put it all over the internet? So Clayton wasn't that guy.
No.
But
Clayton's not that guy. So Clayton's not
I
Spacey
don't even know if that guy she described it actually exists, or if she's just fucking making some boogeyman and trying to attach names to it. Spacey, Daisy, and Clayton. Like, fuck off.
So we know Clayton's definitely not Spacey Daisy. I have met Spacey Daisy. He is a guy. He is an individual. Clayton, I can guarantee you, is not Spacey Daisy. I know this from firsthand experience.
And we all told you, Karima, and you still fucking kept it up and retweeted it twice.
I did message her about it. I made it quite specific. So, and again, everything I'm bringing up and discussing about it is stuff I know firsthand from seeing it, being there, etc.
Yeah.
So a second point. So that is Clayton. So my point and my request for Karima on that one is just take it back. I understand there's a lot of tax and whatnot. Just take it back in regards to it's not Clayton. Leave the poor man alone. He's done nothing to. He didn't even know who you were until suddenly, partway into December, people are messaging him out of nowhere.
And he's like, "What the fuck is this?" He had no like.
I think he messaged us about it too.
Yeah, because
very
he
confused.
Got it from somebody else. Like
exactly. So
that's how much he checks his Twitter.
So the second one has to do with the Resistance Cat Discord.
Mm-hmm.
So a little history on that one is that Resistance Cat started that Discord before we joined. And the point of the Resistance Cats Discord at the time was place for information. Resistance Cats enjoys viewing court stuff, whether big cases being presented, documentation in regards to it, anything like that. And everybody that joined that Discord was helping out and participating into it. I jumped in there too, as well as Deana also did too.
Yeah, very seldomly because it's too noisy for me. Like it's hard. I don't even know how far back to look to see when to start a conversation because it's just one long ass conversation. And so I always feel awkward jumping in, and I'll just randomly type a question that I have and you guys help me with my question and then I run away. Off to do more work.
Yeah, exactly. We did. So that's what it was there. Now, so they were there and quite a few notable people were asked to join to help out. Some of us local during the Tupac activities.
That's how I got on Discord.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Bowie was also requested to come on.
It's amazing, by the way. It's just that I, in that sense, am very simple-minded. Yeah. I can't handle it. It's too stimulating. There's too much.
No, that's true. It's fair. But that Discord's now gone. But still back in the past in regards to that Discord, they had, we had a lot of people that went in there.
Mm-hmm.
But there was and there was a lot of activity to the point, there was additional admins, including Spacey Daisy, who was one of the admins. So that part is correct. and myself. I was one of the other male admins there. There was a total of 4 admins as well as versus cats themselves. But it was, sorry, I think there was 3 male admins. Grumpy, but nobody ever saw Grumpy much. So it was just the 3 of just the 5 of us. So a lot of accusations also came from the idea of what the Bowie incident was and how that affected in there. So, and that's correct.
Mods, just for the record, if anybody doesn't know, mods don't check personal messages between people. That's not a mod's job. The mod is looking at the full conversation. They can't go into private messages. So to think that a mod had anything to do with Bowie doing that through DMs, that's not how it works.
Yeah, let me get to that a little bit more. So you're quite correct. We have access to see anything that's private. We have access to see anything that is private. We have access to see anything that's a channel. So we don't have access to things that are private, that are direct messages back and forth. DMs are direct messages. They don't include the server, therefore we don't see that.
Correct.
So if Deana is messaging somebody else in the server and I'm a mod of that server, I won't know about it because a direct message between the 2 people, that's all handled within Discord world. We're not involved. Anything that's public on the Discord servers and the channels, that's what we get to see. So this is where it gets to a little bit more. So the Bowie event, in regards that was talked about, that occurred back in September, beginning of October. I remember that time period because that's just before we did our Tupac special. Bowie was was in the server, and there was many instances, of on the voice chats that he'd be there and people would be discussing. We have a lot of sort of videos, and I remember being there a couple of times too. And we'd watch a couple of videos from some of the different groups or some of the different cases or some of the different activity. But later on, after we finished discussing and whatnot, he would ask the question, snooker or porn? And people are like shocked by that statement. I don't think you would be. I know I wasn't. Nobody on the channel was, because they all thought it was just a joke. Thought a little bit weird joke, but we figured it was just a joke. So, because it always ended with the same thing, which was he just fired up snooker. For months on end, snooker, porn, and then snooker get played. That's it. That's all. A couple times people even asked for porn and still got snooker. So that's why it wasn't a strange question, because it was just repeatedly said, and that's just it.
Yeah, and
so nobody thought it any differently. So for it to be a warning flag for people, all right, sure, if it's the first time you hear the statement, but if it's not, and you always see it end up in snooker, it's not that big. So that fast forwards, but eventually, as we found out later on, eventually porn did get played, but we'll get to that after. So around the end of September, Bowie had left the server. We got some information as to, I got this a little bit later, but the information is that he left the server after he got into an argument with one of the other members on the Discord. But details, I'm not going to get into too much, but it wasn't to do with anything adult. It was more about something about a service.
He was rude and he was a piece of shit. That's it. Moving on. He was just rude. Like, we don't have to elaborate, but he was just rude to another person on the stream or on the Discord, and it was it wasn't tolerated. He was a bully. The end.
It's fair.
Yeah.
He wasn't being tolerated. He wasn't being. He was demanding for stuff that. For services, and again, not adult services.
Those kind of services. He was just being rude to somebody.
He was, and he left on his own. So once he left, shortly after, that's when I remember myself, Spacey himself quite a bit more, and a few others started getting messages about, by the way, he was also sending us this. And quite a few women started coming forward saying he sent inappropriate messages. He sent.
They had to wait till he was gone. That's when they felt safe in coming out. Right? Because nobody wanted to be that person that accused James Bowie, who had some sort of celebrity like. They didn't want to be that person and didn't know if anybody else was being treated that way. They only knew that they were being treated that way.
Agreed. Hold that thought. I want to bring that back up too. I just want to hold that. I just want to get the rest of the list and to get to the end. But I want to come back to that one though, because you're absolutely right, and that's something that bugged me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when the individual women, and that's when, and most important part about when they all came out and started bringing us the stories, we got that, as well as we got the information about the actual one time he did play porn onto it that I was made aware of. This is the first time all of us learned about any and all of this. So for us, for people to come in, it's like, well, you guys were all grooming this for Bowie. I'm like, are you kidding me?
No, Joe, do you remember our conversation when you called me and told me that had happened? I was like, is he okay? Like, I honestly thought maybe he was having a mental breakdown because I didn't want to believe it. And I'm like, maybe you should check in on him, Joe. Like, do you want to, do you remember? Like, we were actually concerned that he just had some lapse, some sort of lapse in judgment, but like actual like mental psychosis or something, and he was spiraling. And it turns out there were more and more and more people saying that happened to them. So that theory was like out the window.
Well, so at the time, at the end of the event, I still thought that this could have been a case, because I remember hearing specifically from him that he said he had stopped his antidepressant medication because I think he was switching. And so at that point, I was like, all right, maybe that's kind of one of the reasons why we were discussing it. Maybe something's gone wrong with medication.
I had no idea it was on medication. It just sounded to me like this was like.
Yeah, no, there was the reason I brought it up is because I knew there was a thing about medication. He had mentioned that he was off his medication, and it was kind of a change that was going on. And I even reached out to somebody that knew him to try to reach out and say, hey, is everything okay? Like, this is the weird stuff going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but once that was, but that kind of changed once I read the first, once we heard the first story, because I'm looking at the story like, well, that doesn't match the timeline. Like, that was way before all this occurred.
Yep.
And then as more stories came out, and this is all spread across time, and then, whether it be from CTV or from the Reddit post, the infamous Reddit post right now going around, that when you're starting to, with the Reddit chain with all the stuff in there.
I was getting messages from women who were approached or harassed by James Bowie. That's all I needed. I had people writing to me telling me that this is what happened to them, and I heard enough, and that's all it took for me to do my post. And I got some backlash for doing my post because they thought it was too early, but I'm like, no, I'm sure this happened.
No, but by the time the first story came out, I mean, you and I both looked at each other like surprised it took this long.
Yeah.
Neither of us. Yeah.
I'm not surprised. That wasn't that long. I've only known you since August, and I only knew about what happened at the end of September because that's when Tupac was kicked out, right? So that's like October, November, December. That's only 3 months. These things take a lot longer to come out. I'm surprised it took as little time as it did. And I'm glad it did take little time because it prevents him from hurting other people.
I guess I say I'm surprised it took this long. Not because you and I only knew about it in the grand scheme of things a very short amount of time.
Right.
I mean, it's only about a month or two.
Oh, but this, yeah, you're right. This has been going on according to the law. People like people who knew him in those circles and bars he's been kicked out of, or restaurants for his behavior. So yeah, those people. Yeah, you're right. Those people knew about it.
Yeah. So as this is,
yeah.
So it was more as like, if this was all sort of like a recent past couple of months, and this is the only thing that was there.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. If it's from what you might call it, but since this has been going a long term, I'm a little surprised it took so long. But again, for I don't blame any of the victims in regards to taking so long to get there.
No.
You got there as fast as you could.
Yep.
I'm glad you did.
100%.
Yeah. 100% support everything. I believe you. Unquestionably in that. Especially the numbers. I'm so happy about the numbers.
I'm not happy about the numbers because it means that many women got hurt, but I know what you mean, Joe.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. It just means that if anybody even like seriously wants to entertain that this never happened and you want to gaslight people that somehow none of this is true, these numbers help to just quash that. Like, I know what you mean.
It is exactly. It's So I'm not trying to be horrible in regards to like, no, I'm happy there's a lot of numbers. No. I'm happy. I'm happy there was a lot of numbers because the numbers were already there. I'm just happy that they were able to come out and say
that everyone felt strong enough to come out, or like that many women came out feeling strong enough. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So very happy about that.
Yeah.
So, and to that, I'm just saying, still back to the original, the RC Discord is nobody knew. Had we known, he wouldn't have been there. Period.
Yeah.
There's no way the admins, I know I could speak for every admin that was there when I say we would not have not accepted it and he would have been gone. Period. I don't blame the women not having come forward to us.
Of course not.
I'm upset, not at them. I'm upset. I'm going to try to find a way to word this one. Because it's, how could I put it? I'm upset about that they didn't feel that they were significant. Their experience wasn't significant. They felt their experience was significant enough as to having him there, that he was of higher value than that.
I don't know that was the reason they didn't do it. I mean, look what happened to the first girl who had proof of the conversation she had, and they still raked her over the coals. Like, you saw the Twitter storm after that happened, and we know who she is, and you know that she's on meth, or whatever the fucking bullshit they were carrying on about. And so imagine you come and you have these DMs of him just, being totally fucking disgusting and raunchy with you. Is that going to be enough for all these people to think this guy is a disgusting piece of shit and he should be off? Probably not. Even for women, probably not. And so you're disgusted by it because it's happening to you. But once, I don't think that they wanted to be the ones who risked it all for the very likely possibility that that there would be backlash within Twitter sphere. Like, you saw what happened when they were talking about this stuff. And then even after other numbers came out, we were still arguing with some of these fucking people about whether or not it's alleged or not. And it's like, now it's over. Like, they can't dispute it anymore because all these women came forward. But it has to be in numbers. Like, we're power in numbers. But it's like, I don't even know how to say it. It's so frustrating. It's not that easy. It's super frustrating because even when this woman who came forward, not even on Discord, nothing to lose there, right? And has screenshots, and it's probably one of the ones that will be, other than the pornography, if he did share pornography and people who were in there who were not consenting, that will be a huge one. But it's the fact that he abused his authority and that power dynamic between him being a lawyer and his client, that is super egregious. And so if you go to the police with DMs of him asking if you want to suck his dick versus you're a client of his and he wants to be paid in favors, there's a big difference in the perception and the weight of that statement.
Agreed.
Right?
No, agreed. So yeah, I mean, to shorten it up, my only two things I'm asking for is just simply, Clayton's done nothing. Apology for that. And just to our Discord wasn't an organization that was trying to take anybody down. They just like to track the court activity, particularly those of the convoys going to court, and report on them. That's all.
Okay, why is somebody spreading those rumors? Let's get to the heart of the intention of the person who is spreading those rumors. All these things happened, they were bad. Why the fuck would somebody do that? What kind of person is that?
I don't know.
And what kind of person, after they were told politely by you, not so politely by me, and all of the in-between with everybody else who knew Clayton and Spacey Dacey and knew the Discord and knew whatever, why didn't she fix that? Or straighten it out? Because that's not a normal person. The other thing I want to say, because I was reading some of these comments, you guys fucking put it all, pieced it together for me. You probably knew this already, but the pickled pleb, I understand now. Pickled pleb is sitting here defending Karima like hard fucking core in my space, which is okay, you go for it. You're not making any fucking valid points. But he was a moderator on Discord. I wonder where Karima was getting all this bullshit information. Maybe he's one of those people. Bullshit. Like, no. So yeah, it's not just that this person did this, and everybody should know that Clayton is not this bad person and that Discord wasn't a fucking brothel grooming place. You need to also remember that there was a person behind these rumors and these hurtful accusations, and somebody who's a lawyer who should follow some sort of ethical guidelines. We see what's happening to Brendan Miller, right? For just accusing some guy of doing something, whatever. Why is Karima getting away with this? And she's a journalist. She says she's a journalist. Well, I've brought up the questions. What journalists go get interviewed by other journalists? Who makes a protest about themselves? You can see in my live, the reporter comes up to me and says, what's your name? And do you want to do an interview? No, I don't want to do an interview. I don't want to be a distraction. There are people who organize this. There are people from the LGBTQ2S plus community who could speak to this. You can go talk to the crazies on the other side for their opinion, but no, I am not there to give interviews. I'm just there to, match the intensity of the protesters. What does she do when the reporter comes up to her? And she's fucking giving an interview. Like, come on, people, open your eyes. And then Lee, that clown, he's a fucking clown. Bumping into people on purpose. He freaking checks me like, 3 or 4 times in that live. He's like, right in your face. Fuck off, you're a mosquito. Like, he's a fucking I looked in his dead fucking eyes. I looked him right in the fucking eyes. That guy's not normal. People who go out and instigate, people who leave a storefront vacant for however many months to troll your neighbor who's trying to run their business, a record shop, and then you brag about it because that's fucking. Have you ever done anything positive in your life? I can't imagine you've done anything more than fucking bully people. Greg Wycliffe from the Plaid Army. I never thought I would ever agree with anybody from the Plaid Army, but there is a clip of him. It was one of the threads I shared, and he just fucking nailed who Karima was in that little clip. And he said that she does it, makes fascists look bad, and she instigates fights. Everybody who thinks Justin Trudeau is the reason why Canadians are divided, he's one man. It takes other kinds of people to divide a community. And when you put an instigator in, like Karima and Lee, in between an already tense situation and them pushing for conflict, I witnessed it myself. I've seen threads from people I don't even know who are describing my situation that I went through and trying to be doxxed. And these threats of my teeth going to be busted out by your fucking stands. Hi, Audrey, you fucking crazy lunatic. And then you want to support this. You want to say that Karima is the victim. Every fucking event she becomes the victim. How does that even happen? And she's retweeted 209 times, I think, today, and 175 yesterday. She's losing her fucking shit. I tweet maybe every half an hour, every hour. Today, not so much because I was doing a lot of stuff, but she's boom, boom, boom. What lawyering is she doing right now? I wonder how her clients are doing. She's sick.
Well, we got to wrap this up because right now it's 11:50. We're about 50 minutes over.
That's okay.
That's okay. But a lot to go through. But
also, just for Erica Iffel, she's trying to sue you for whatever, criticizing her, whatever. I think it's fair game to criticize journalists, and it's fair game to criticize their work. So she has that in her Twitter bio. I know you probably know that it's frivolous anyways, but I mean, that's the angle I would be taking as well. She's a journalist. Tell me what journalist doesn't get people who are calling them out for the fake fucking news they're putting out, the edited videos. Yes. That is all. Rant over.
All right. So that's it for now.
Kellyanne Wolf is grifting for a car. Did you guys know that? She's already got $1,000 from her Give Send Go. I can't believe you guys are sending this woman money so that she can buy a car, and you're all working your fucking asses off trying to pay for groceries and shit, and you're giving money to a fucking grifter. What? You guys have money to burn. You have money to burn. You're lucky. You're fucking lucky. You guys have money to burn.
So she's she's already got about $1,000 in there from what I can see.
Yeah.
So she's not doing bad. Surprising.
She's gonna buy a Hummer with your fucking money, you guys. It's just gonna be friggin' pimping.
Well, she's asking for $3,100.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's only $2,100, so I got the feeling she's already got $1,000 in there.
All right.
So that's it. That's your.
They sell cars for $2,100 these days.
Yeah, she says it's a used car, but apparently in a really good condition. I'm like, all right.
Oh, sure. Kellyanne's getting swindled by a swindler.
Probably another Convoy.
Perfect.
All right, that's it. Just gotta let you guys know we're probably not gonna have a show next week because just between Christmas and
I
New
might
Year.
have a show, but you guys don't have to come. I won't expect you to drop everything, but I may still go on. Who knows? Just on my Facebook.
Fair enough.
Unless I can figure this melon thing out.
Oh, it shouldn't be too hard. We can probably figure something out.
Yeah.
That or we might try one of those spaces.
Yeah. Spaces is good.
Space is also a possibility. All right.
All right. It's lovely seeing everybody.
Thanks for coming out, guys. And we shall see you guys into the new year. Bye, guys.
Bye.